Hey, what's up guys, how's it going on? Thank you so much for clicking the video. I'm Ayrus and welcome back to another Clash Royale video, and today we're going to be talking about on what's the best alternative when it comes to the legendary troops. Now, legendary troops are for a reason, and there is no best alternative when it comes to the legendary cards. So definitely the troops that I'm actually going to say will not make it any close to what the legendary card will give it all by themselves. So it's not going to be anything related to what the best card, the best alternative has to do with the the legendary card, but then maybe the cards that I'm actually saying might do around maybe 50% of what the legendary card does all by itself. So that's what I actually wanted to say up pretty quickly. So before I start over the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, try Clash of Clans or Clash Royale content every single day. Make sure you click on the bell notification icon to get notified when I'm putting in Clash of Clans or Clash Royale content, so you don't miss anything. So up first, we're going to talk about a troop called the Sparky. And Sparky is of course a 6 elixir troop, and when it comes to the alternatives, there's no troop that actually does any more area splash damage for the troops, for any ground troops, apart from the balloon, which does some really great damage when it actually is doing for the tower itself. It does around 700 to 800 damage. And apart from that, we have the giant skeleton, who once he's dead is actually again going to do 700 or so when he actually dies. So again, this is not to do anything with what the Sparky can actually do. The fact that the Sparky is the best amongst any other troop, it actually can do what the Sparky does. So again, if you want, you can try in the bowler, which does again area splash, the wizard or the executioner to do the area splash. The next troop is the Lava Hamm for a 7 elixir cost, the only flying tank troop up in the whole Clash Royale game itself. It's one of the cool cards which you actually need, and it's really good. The fact that you don't have any other card which can actually do the tanking job for you, apart from a golem that actually is going to affect ground troops, or apart from that you can probably take in a baby dragon, which actually does some pretty great damage, although it does not have pub. So when it comes for pubs, you can probably put in the minion horde, but for the tank itself you can take in the golem or the baby dragon, but then baby dragon you definitely need around 2 or 3 to compete it with the Lava Hand itself. The next troop is the Electro Wizard. The Electro Wizard is a really great stuff. He actually stuns out the enemies, and just think the scenario, the Sparky versus the Electro Wizard. The Electro Wizard will not even let the Sparky to actually come a bit forward, although he does. He has to initialize again, and that's what I actually love about the Electro Wizard. And when it comes to the troop that actually can do that, no troop can actually do that, of course. The Musketeer, which has some pretty great range, is really great. Apart from that, you can take in a Wizard, which does really great, and for the stunning thing, you can just take in the Zap and ask nothing more than that. But then no troop can actually shoot in Zap. The next troop is the Infernal Dragon. Once the Infernal Dragon is locked onto the tower itself, there's no other troop or anything that it can actually stop when it is on the chart. So it's really great, the fact that it does around 300 or something when it actually is fully concentrated on the tower itself. It's a really great troop. The fact that it's just 4 elixir, and you combine it with any other area splash troops, it's just going to be a big chaos over there. And when it comes to the replacement, no card can actually do it. No card can actually shoot up Inferno beams. So the only thing you can actually do is drop in the Inferno tower, and when the Inferno tower sees any troops, it's going to actually defend through. But then there's no defense, of course, that's actually going to attack the tower. So the Infernal Dragon, when it comes to the replacement, the Inferno tower will do it, but then again the Inferno tower will not shoot the tower. The next troop is the Bandit, and for a 3 elixir cost, you're getting massive values out of it. And when she is on the charge, she's gonna dash out the enemy, and that's gonna do double the amount of damage she actually does. And when it comes to the alternatives, you pretty much have some decent amount of alternatives over here, but then you're definitely gonna miss that dash ability, which it's actually got. So the first one would be the Knight for just 3 elixir. You're probably making a better out of it. Apart from that, the Mega Minion, which is air, of course, and of course any of the troops here won't do the dash, and this means that you cannot actually get the first hit without any doubt. So the Bandit is really good, and it's gonna do at least 1 strike on the Princess Star, and that's really what you expect from a 3 elixir card. So again, the Goblin Gang again for 3 elixir is really going to do some great stuff and great damage. Apart from that, the archers are also going to do, but then as I said, no troop can actually beat the legendary card itself. The next troop is the Graveyard, and this is a spell where you can actually drop in any part of the base itself, I mean any part of the whole arena, and it's gonna do the job from there. It's really great, the fact that you combine it with any troop, like the Golem, put in the Skeleton Army up from behind, or maybe put it where the Golem is, and it's gonna be a big distraction, big chaos, big headache for the opponent to actually counter on that. It's really hard. So when it comes to replacement, there's no card that actually spawns skeletons from the ground itself, apart from the Skeleton Army where you have around 9 or something like that. And apart from that, you can probably put in the Goblin Barrel, who actually kind of do it, but then you're spawning in goblins rather than the skeletons, and maybe just 3 of the goblins rather than more than 10 or something from the the Graveyard. So the next troop is the Ice Wizard for 3 elixir. Again, you can probably freeze down the opponents, not completely, but then slow them down to such an extent that they are going to attack very slowly, and in the meanwhile the Ice Wizard is just going to deal the damage. So he's really great. Apart from the Ice Wizard, for the best alternatives, you can take in a Bomber, who actually will be taking down the spawn attacks. Apart from that, you can take in the Ice Golem, the fact that he does not do area splash, and only when he does is actually going to show up some freezing action. The Gods are again some pretty great alternatives. There are 3 of them, and it's really gonna take some time for you to go through all these 3 of them. Up next we have the Princess, and for 3 elixir, you're having a troop that can shoot down from the other lane and take care of other troops, and she is really good. The fact that she does area splash, but then she's really weak. Even the arrows or maybe the log will pretty much do it on her, but then if you just leave her untouched, she'll just take down the Princess Star without any doubt. So when it comes to replacement, the Dart Goblins, which is really good at range, and also they are going to shoot at a very fast pace, and that can actually give you a big advantage. Apart from that, for another elixir bump, you can probably take in the Musketeer, which has some pretty great range. And when it comes to the troops, which actually does the area splash, you can take in the Tornado or the arrows, and this is what you can actually get from the Princess all by herself. The next spell is the Log. Now Log is a really great spell that what you actually have to do is just drop it in behind the hog, and then once they drop in the Skeleton Army, which most people do, is just gonna clear them out all down without any doubts, and that's gonna be completely like a surprise. The hog will make it through, just drop in a free spell and it's done. So when it comes to the best replacements, put in a Zap spell for just 2 elixir as the Log. It's again going to stun down the enemies, and of course, due to a lot of changes, balancing changes, the Zap will not take down the goblins or the minions. Rather, they'll take down the Skeleton Army, no doubt of that, but then for the Goblin Barrels or anything like that, they're definitely not going to actually kill them all by itself. And for Sparky and Infernal Tower, it's actually Sparky, Infernal Tower, the Infernal Dragon is actually going to zap them up, and again letting them to initialize all by themselves. Apart from that, you can take in Fire Spirit for the same value. You can probably do some pretty great damage. The fact that they do area splash, but then you definitely want them to travel through that, and rather it can attack whichever troop it wants. So you're not concentrating on what troop you actually want to remove, rather it's going to remove on what troop it actually finds fit. So Fire Spirit, I mean, isn't all that great. So next thing is of course the arrows. For another elixir bump, you can probably get in a spell which is actually going to kill ground and air, but then again you're going to spend in an extra elixir. For the next legendary card, that is the Miner. It is one good troop that you can actually drop in any part of the arena, and he's going to probably do the damage. Now you combine it with the Graveyard and Miner. I've seen a lot of replays actually doing that, and it's really so hard. The fact that every troop is attacking the Miner, he has some pretty decent L, and by the time they're actually done with the Miner, the Skeleton Army is just going to come in and kill all of them down. So when it comes to replacement, of course the Knight for the 3 elixir is going to do it. He's pretty great, and apart from him, maybe the ice golem can do it again. The knight is definitely a really good alternative. So the next troop is the lumberjack. The fact that once he dies, he's actually going to put in a race spell. That's really good all by himself, and he's going to take down that tower without any problems if you leave him untouched. He's really great. The speed of him is really fast, and once he dies, he's actually going to put in a raid spell. So if you want to, you can probably put in a mini P.E.K.K.A, which actually does the same amount of damage what the lumberjack does, but then of course you don't have the rage ability. You could probably put in the rage again after spending the full elixir on the mini P.E.K.K.A. Maybe using the hog rider, the battle ram, or any other troop with the rage stuff. It's pretty much going to do the same again, and it's really good. The fact that lumberjack is really good all by himself. So the next troop is the night witch. Now the night witch is going to cover up both the air and the ground aspect of the raid, and when it comes to the alternatives, the witch will definitely do it, but then again, another elixir from what the night witch actually is going to do. Apart from that, you probably have the musketeer, which is really great, and when it comes to summoning both air and ground troops, no troop can actually do that. And the last troop, of course, it is the mega knight, and when it comes to mega knight, there's no alternative. Of course, you're probably putting in 7 elixir, and there's no troop that actually can do that. Of course, the giant skeleton, once he's actually dead, you can actually put in some great damage, but then that's not going to come into what the mega knight can actually do all by himself. He's really great all by himself, and there's no alternative when it comes to him. Maybe the 6 elixir fireball, I mean the rocket, or the 4 elixir fireball can actually do what he actually does, but then again, he's going to do air splash and deal with all of them. So it's really nice to have the knight all by himself. So that's pretty much it, guys. As I said you in the very first itself, no troop can actually do the alternative better than what the legendary cards can do all by themselves. They're really there for a purpose, and it's really hard to get them, and that's the reason why you need to understand that legendary cards are much better than that of any other card, maybe the epic, the rare, or whatever. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to click on the bell notification icon to get notified when we're putting new Clash Royale or Clash Royale content so you don't miss anything. I'm Ayrus, and I'll be seeing you next time. Until then, goodbye.